Hey, are we doing this? Wow. Impressive. On a Saturday? Let's get the stream up so I know that sounds and voices and everything can be heard. No, dude, you're good. I know what time of year it is for you. Let's see. But yeah, glad to see you in here. But yeah, I figured you were busy. You know, with how things time out when I was streaming middle of the day, whatever, and not giving away too much. But yeah. Anyways, we're here. We're here now, and that's all that matters. Okay, cool. There's my mouse. Back and flight, because that was just there for photos. And now we're not using the thumbnail one. We're going to use it as Sikorsky still. Mostly because theirs are big and fast. Just like we like them. And it should make for comfortable cruising. Which is kind of where I'm at. Yeah, dude, for some reason, something the other day where I was just like, I think it was with the weather, because all the real flights that I had booked, we're gonna use Donald Trump livery. That's kind of like the go-to livery for the Sikorskys. I think it's funny. But yeah, so obviously I've started instrument flying, and hello, Valeska. And with instrument flying, it's like, cool, you pick an airport, you fly there, and you fly back. Or you pick 2 airports, and you fly there, and you fly back. And, which is great, you know, it's not bad, it's not terribly difficult, but the Robinson R-22 is not a instrument-rated helicopter. And also on that, did I say it's going to Pamuk? Yeah, I think so. It's not an instrument-rated helicopter, and on that as well, it's we'll come in over the bay. That sounds easier if we're fogged in. So there's arrival. Cool. But yeah, also, like, the Robinson R-22 gets tossed around a whole bunch. Might have an E4. I see something. I'm just sending a message. E4B fly over me. Okay, sick. Isn't that Doomsday plane, if I remember correctly? As a helicopter guy, I'm not the most rememberable of all the military airplane designations. Who are you? Why are you in my seat? That's what I'm going to look like with gray hair. Okay, cool. No pre-flight on the outside of this one. Shift C, let's hop in. Kick that other loser out of here. But yeah, so there's like a week period where we were having all those like crazy convective storms that just pop up out of nowhere all night or all day, and just threw off my flying schedule. So I like didn't fly for like 2 weeks, even though it's like, cool, I prepaid for all of it. Couldn't fly for 2 weeks, except for like once or twice. Overly green, yeah. So if you got to step out and see if you can snag pictures of that, go for that. I'm going to start startup process here. Battery on. And that's a good start. Got to remember how this thing works. So get fuel. Over here, I have to kind of hold it direct first. No, it needs to be in prime. Prime, there we go, I like that. Okay, nothing on the left side I need to do. Master start, that does need to be on. Yeah, EFISOs can stay off for right now. Do we have anything down here that we need? Strobe light, that'd be a good thing for people down here. Mouse. That's good, that's good. Primes can go off. That can come on. Yeah, dude, it just every storm here recently has just been unbelievably wild. Okay, so what am I directing to? BGPT, Bravo Golf, Papa Tango. Bravo, Golf, Papa, Tango. No city, yeah, I know. Crazy, right? And I'm not even going to worry about trying to put it in here. That's nothing that I know how it works. I don't know how any of these like enterprise level nav systems work. We're going to get by with GPS today. GPS is up. Water is wet. Make sure everything stabilizes itself out. Anti-collision, sure. Pitot heat's definitely going to be necessary. Although I assume it's cold enough to where we don't really have to worry about icing that much. We're going to be wary of it. She saw it in me. Don't like that. There we go. Okay, off we go. There are like no visual references here. The ground is just white. And gear up. Okay, welcome to the long Let's Fly Across Greenland journey. It looks like a small little water jump right here. That's nothing compared to recently. I am barely using any collective right now. I guess we're heavy. I should really study on how their nav system works so I can pull it and put it on here, because that would be easy to follow. But I don't know. I'm not trying to find out while we're in the middle of this. I'll be happy just keeping speed. Too humid to get a photo? Yeah, that happens. Dude, with the weather, the way the weather's been here recently, you almost have to keep your camera outside, so when you go outside you don't end up like over condensating the lens just with all the moisture that's outside. Unless you keep your house like 75, 85 degrees outside. 75, I guess 75 is normal. Unless you're like keeping your house like 90. It's going to be quite a thing taking nice cool glass outside where they can condensate. There's 150 knots max cruise. Feels so slow. Yeah, 150 knots, not bad. We'll keep it. We're also probably going to play Fairy Tank today, just because of the nature of how far we're going. Today and tomorrow will definitely be... Well, we were thinking about Fairy Tanking last one, but I think it was short enough to where it wasn't a thing. This is near edge of range. And the fact that we're flying above most effective speed, it's going to burn fuel quicker if fuel's mapped the correct way in this. So, you know, we'll take it. How much water am I going to put in first? Oh, good bit of water. Okay. All within shore in sight, but just a good bit of water. A rudimentary ass helicopter, that's for sure. I'm condensating as soon as it went out behind the cloud. That's part of it. Also, since it's basically just us in here, how was the ride? Did you still think about helicopters after the helicopter ride? They said my ultimate goal was corruption of the fixed wing mind into rotor wing mindset. And also, excuse me, as of right now, the plan is Friday, I'll be down in your area, flying out of there, because we got to use one of their R-22s that's better instrument equipped. And I'll be doing my instrument cross-country whatever thing, you know, gotta fly 100 miles, 3 different approaches, So we're going to leave from there and go down to Troy, and then to Eufaula and back. It's like 140 miles. But also, that doesn't bother me that I'm doing 40 miles more than I have to, because I have to get cross-country time, and I have to get the cross-country PIC and cross-country PIC simulated instrument. And all of that has to be done. So I'm not super concerned that like, oh man, I'm doing an extra 40 miles. When I was doing private, it was like, no. For my cross country, I want to do 50 miles and then a 50 mile back. You know, give me my 100 miles. But with this, there's time to burn. So we're going all the way down to Troy. Should be a nice flight. I can see the land up there. It's just a little expanse of water right here. Then of course we're going to have coast for a little bit because we're kind of following the coast down. And eventually I'll just get over the big frozen interior. Oh, also, I don't know if you went out or went back and rewatched any of the episodes, but us leaving the Faroe Islands, so 2 episodes ago, leaving the Faroe Islands to Iceland, because the last episode was Iceland, to where we just took off from. But we took off from the Faroe Islands with like quarter-mile visibility or less. So it was instrument until we were up to like 4,000 to 6,000 feet. Of course, these other flights too, we have punched up above the clouds. Just because I would rather give myself that space for failure, if it does happen, to correct and fix from the failure, rather than flying at 500 feet and lean over to correct something and accidentally nose down or whatever and end up stuffing us. Yeah, it was solid IFR. Which, fun fact, because I'm learning all the instrument rules and regulations and everything now. Fun fact, if you are Part 91 helicopter, so not like a business, like, I'm going to butcher because I don't remember what all the different parts are and it's kind of confusing, but many operators of just aircraft in general cannot take off in 0-0 conditions. The rules in the handbook say like, cool, if you're part of whatever, it names all these different things, like you have to have like at least minimum takeoff visibility, whatever. And but it's just kind of saying like these people have to have it. It doesn't say that Part 91, which is more general aviation, if you want to consider it anything. It doesn't really say like, cool, they have to do it as well. So just by not including it in the rules, general aviation, Part 91, if you are IFR certified, obviously, you can take off in 0-0 conditions. Hey Dino, welcome to the stream. Let's see, people are texting me for reasons. Texting and flying, not good. Yeah, the last flight wasn't too bad because we got up to 10,000 feet and we were well above the weather and our ground speed was cooking. Because we also had a... Oh, we got ground speed down on the bottom right. We're doing 146, so it's about even now. Slight headwind if anything. There's definitely weather off to the east. Don't want to mess with. I'm excited to get over the ground up here because it's just something more to look at. But even then, Greenland's not a lot to look at. Iceland was kind of cool. Iceland was sick. I'm actually feeling like maybe we do that again today because the interior is going to be just white, crappy nothingness. Out here, we're just going to have like a very short bit of ground cover. Dude, I don't know about Greenland. Greenland's cool. Don't get me wrong, like 50,000 people on this entire island. It's a huge landmass. A very cool place, but Iceland, more people, more green. Very, very beautiful place. It's high on my list of places that I'd like to go. I mean, like, sure, obviously I'll see Greenland while I'm there. Why go all the way to the farm and not milk the cow? But Iceland, it's high on the list. And the automotive community in Iceland is apparently pretty cool. Mostly because they're building like crazy Arctic truck, 4-wheel drive type things with huge floaty tires. The western part. I'm not going to say that my travel list has grown since starting this series, but I definitely feel, Jinx, you owe me a Monster. Sorry, don't drink Monster. I owe you a Rain. But yeah, I don't want to say my travel list has grown substantially since doing this. There have always been places that I'd like to go. It's like, cool, I've always wanted to go to Italy. Flying through it, though, was like, oh wow, cool, there's a lot of cute little villages and towns and everything there. Where that was really like, okay, cool, Italy is definitely on the list, and to do some deeper exploring and not just trying not just to hit the touristy sort of areas. And Europe in general is kind of cool, but there are definitely places in Europe that I want to visit and places that I just don't really have the interest in. Iceland, it has always been on the list. I think as long as I can remember, it's been on the list. Yeah, usually I have the orange dreamsicle rings, but Amazon was out of them, so. Ooh, also another fun fact, I bit the bullet the other day. I bought a iPad Air 11-inch, new one, M4, got Apple Care and everything. Bye-bye almost $1,000, because Garmin Pilot's pretty subpar on the Android phones, and guess what? Garmin Pilot's supposed to be better on Apple, which is 4Flight's only thing. So like, cool, I would just get 4Flight if I had an Apple iPhone. So I figured, cool, iPad, 4Flight, most people use that. But Garmin also has more features on Apple products. So what do? Download Garmin Pilot for my new iPad, and a lot of the features that I want still don't exist on the iPad. So I feel like I'll definitely be buying a 4Flight subscription here soon. And I'll run them both simultaneously for a year to see how it is. If Garmin doesn't get their shit together, then I just won't renew my subscription to them. Sucks, because I'd rather support Garmin because 4Flight offloaded a whole bunch to countries that enjoy curry, and I'd rather support companies that support my people. I don't know what tropical flavor. This one here is white gummy bear, I think. Yeah. White gummy bear. The orange rain, that's... I had done the white gummy bear for a while. That had been my go-to. And one day it wasn't at the store and I got the orange one. I was like, dang, this is actually kind of good. So I started doing it regularly. Or like as my normal, as my usual. And then I just kind of stuck with that for like the last 6 or 8 months. We are definitely creatures of habit. But also, let's talk flight training. So obviously, doing my main goal, commercial, which up here, like, cool, if you're gonna do commercial, you got to do a whole bunch of hours for cross country and like some little simulated instrument here and there or whatever. So I was like, okay, cool. Well, it makes sense to, instead of just aimlessly burning 75 hours of just flying with no purpose, no instruction. I've been doing a lot of instrument flying, which requires a safety pilot, so I put on goggles where I can only see the gauge panel. And I fly, and there's a safety pilot that sits next to me, which is just when it's rated. But I've been doing it with instructors. Sometimes they'll act as safety pilot, sometimes they won't. Either way, good learning experience throughout. But the instructor that I'm flying with now, she's really good. She's extremely book smart on rules, regulations, whatever. That is her thing, which is great because I've always been more of a stick wiggler versus somebody who's going to remember rule, regulation, caveat, thing like that. Just like the whole, what I was talking about earlier about taking off in 0-0. I would have just read it and be like, cool, wow, okay, cool, these people can't take off in it. So I guess I'm not going to either, versus like, oh, cool, no, you're allowed to. It's terrifying, I wouldn't do it, but you're allowed to. But yeah, she kind of has that analytical, lawyery sort of look or whatever on it. But the cool thing is, she likes helicopters too, because there's like cool opportunities, hard flying, hard to fly, especially doing like more advanced techniques. And that's something I'm really into personally. So I was telling her, I was like, we kind of agree on this is a good way for me because it gives me something to do this too. I've never had the great. So what we're doing now, as we go and fly somewhere, come back, when we get back to Speedway, let's say I have the rental from noon until 2 o'clock. We get back at 1:40 because we just did like a little short, like 25-mile minimum, which is what constitutes cross country. we get back like, cool, there's 5-10 minutes to burn before we need to go set down, cool down, shut down, and have it ready for the next person. And what we've started doing is, because I enjoy the learning and chasing more advanced maneuvers as well as she does, we're starting to do more advanced maneuvers. Example would be like towing into a hill, like if you're dropping somebody off on the side of a mountain, nowhere to land, you kind of nose up to the hill, put your skids on it, chill, hold that there for a second, peel off. So we're doing that, going to start doing one skid, toe ins, just holding one skid on there, which is probably the more annoying one, just because it's a straight balance. One skid toe in, I think it shouldn't be that bad, but it makes a pivot point. I'm going to start trying to be more precise with auto rotations, so I can like really start point aiming those. I don't know what point we start doing full downs, if that's a thing. I know for a while they were stopped teaching them, just because more people get in accidents from practicing full down auto rotations and actually doing an auto rotation in real life. So it's like, cool, you can learn it and learn to put it near the ground on a hover, but if it's something where we're learning to the ground, I'd like to start tying those in as well. More advanced confined area takeoffs, landings, trying to work and find power in places that you don't, stuff like that. And I know I'm enjoying it because I'm a very stick wiggling, sort of technical, do the thing person. And I know she's liking it because it's, hey, look, here's a student who actually knows how to fly. And obviously I'm a rated pilot, so it's not like I'm a private or a student. But she's like, with most people, we'll still make them use the go out to the runway, go do this, whatever. She's like, oh, you're a rated student, we're in a helicopter, you know how to fly, you're good at doing it, we're going to start taking off from the pad. So we'll direct off the pad, or we'll direct off taxiway or something, you know, whatever makes the most sense for wherever we're at. There's storage in Dothan? I didn't know there'd be storage down there. Storage in a non-desert area just sounds weird to me. There's most storage. I just know most storage places. They want to put it like where there's little to no rain or corrosion, just a little bit of sand. We're going to pass this island, and much shorter, a little bit. Then we're going to be over the land, which I think is just going to be just like a field of white nothingness, because that's what the satellite image is. And if they don't have good satellite imagery and photogrammetry to make it anything, so does Macon. Trying to read and fly. And freighter conversion. Oh, freighter conversion, okay. I know Macon has some like bigger maintenance and modification and paint and stuff like that, which that's kind of down on the south ramp where the self-service, that's where we flew to. I can see the land past the land, so that's good. Yeah, plus the Macon controllers are super cool. They were when I was doing my private. They're super cool now. We got to land opposite runway on a practice RNAV. Because 5 and 2-3, would that be it? 5 and 2-3? Yeah. They're closed for maintenance or whatever on those runways. So it's 1432. 32 is active. And we're like, hey, we're basically coming from the north. Is it possible for us to get a practice RNAV to runway 14? And they're like, give us a second. Yeah, you're good. You're clear for RNAV 14. So we got to land opposite way coming into Macon. And then, of course, at the end of that runway, at the very far end, like literally the departure end of 14, is the taxi to the south ramp, which is where we were going. So we just came out of or got down to my lowest, or my minimum altitude, minimum descent altitude, and got to my decision point, which was at the threshold of the runway. The fog was off. Cool. There we were. And we just still had like 400 feet to go or something, because we were doing an LNAV, NNAV, MDA approach, whatever, or LNAV MDA. There's no vertical guidance. So again, then we just went down to the end of the runway, and it's not NNAV, it's VNAV. Me trying to learn all these acronyms for everything. Acronyms for the stuff that you see the entire time you're flying. Not that hard. All the acronyms for every other little thing that you're trying to learn, like compass errors and... There's so many little things. And so much of it's also like airplane specific. Because even though which here's the wild part to me. When you do your private license, you take one private pilot test. And then when you go, let's say I've got my private helicopter license. If you go to get your private airplane license, you do not have to take another written test. You just have to pass your oral exam and your actual flight test. For instrument, I have to take another instrument test. So even if I pass my helicopter instrument certification, I have to go take an airplane instrument certification test. So then I get on my helicopter test, and I'm doing the test prep, doing all that stuff for it. It's like, okay, cool, you're at like flight level 250, and you're traveling 300 knots, and you get a call for arrival process to whatever. I'm like, I'm in a helicopter, dude. I'm not... Like, it's going to be a bad day when I'm above, like, 6,000 feet AGL. I like to cruise, like, 2,500 to 3,000 while I'm, like, doing a distance thing, you know. And 2,500 is even tall. Then I'd much rather be 500 feet AGL. Trimming trees. Yeah, there's so many questions that are just, like, mildly irrelevant to helicopters. Like, oh, well, let's talk about, like, when you roll out of your turns when you're doing something. I'm like, I'm in an R22 or an R44, like, probably something really, really shaky. So turning out of a turn, it's not going to be like, oh, cool, I'm going to turn out perfect and end perfect. And also, I'm hand flying all this as well. There's no autopilot, none of that. Most airplane people, from what I understand, when they get their instrument rating, they're encouraged to use the autopilot systems. Because the instrument rating, you already know how to fly. You're a rated pilot. You have your license, your building time. Realistically, the earliest you can get it would be like 80 hours. So you have near 100 hours. A lot of it with instructors and other people in there that will teach you things. It's like, you know how to fly, so you're getting your instrument license isn't a know how to fly thing. You already know how to fly, hopefully. It's more of a, cool, how do I manage the systems? How do I talk to people? And how do I know the rules, regulations, standard operating procedures, whatever. So, for me, I'm flying a helicopter, and you might be able to see, but like, this is about where the T-bar is. When I'm leaning in here to like change any sort of GPS or whatever, my arm's hitting the controls, I'm leaning forward, or I'm looking at my my GPS is like down here behind the center mass of the cyclic. Like, cool, I can't see that. I'm having to like really lean around and manage and do different things. And then also with it not being like a hydraulically controlled thing that has like a trim setup, I can't take my hands off. A lot of helicopters, especially when you start getting to the bigger, more expensive ones, you can be hands off for a little bit and it's fine. Even if it's not like an autopilot thing, you can, if it's trimmed the correct way, you can be hands off. It's not suggested, but you can be hands off for a few seconds while you're doing stuff. I can't do that in the R22. So the general plan right now is when I'm getting close to my 50 hours total that I need to take my instrument check ride, I'm going to do like the last 5 to 7 hours or so in an R44, which is a 4-seater, hydraulically smoother, more space, better avionics, etc., etc., etc. And that way, when I do my check ride, I'll be used to the 44 more, and I'll be able to have a better systems available to me to do my check ride, monitor everything, be easier, not as sensitive to me bashing stuff around, because the cyclic kind of holds itself in place and I can be lighter on the hands with it. That's the general plan right now. That's what we're aiming for. This is some elevation here. I'm at 3,000 feet. And I will hit those hills if I don't go higher. Interesting. Cool, so we'll keep the climb going. Work our way up to 5,000 feet. Also, this is a fun flying helicopter, but it's very sensitive to inputs, especially with my setup. In real life, if you were doing this flight with this helicopter, you would take off, get your clearances if you're doing an instrument, which I assume you would be. You'd set your autopilots and you would be hands off. Also, I wonder how hard it would be. Not that I want to do this series in real life. How hard it would be to fly an R22 around the world. Obviously, there are going to be giant water crossings. That would be an issue. If you have the money and the sponsors, it's possible to get barges, buoys, stuff like that you can get out and land on. And I would assume barges would probably be the move. People that do like cross ocean things in smaller gas powered boats, they do it with buoys. They'll have fuel buoys set out. Do it in real life. Yeah, it'd be sick. Legitimately historical. I'd be known as the most ridiculous helicopter pilot to take a Robbie. I mean, they've done a 66 around the world. 44 would definitely be possible. 66 has been done. But I wouldn't be opposed to it if somehow the money and the funds and the helicopter and stuff to where, like, cool, I'm just the pilot You know, like maybe I buy the helicopter. Don't have the money to do it, but maybe I buy the helicopter. And then fuel, maintenance, a lot of that stuff is done for me. Then it wouldn't be as bad. But I think a 44 would definitely be doable. It would just be a long trip. It'd be a very long trip. And of course there'd be a lot of risks that we've taken here that we would not be doing in that. But honestly, I think the 66 is probably the smallest helicopter that you could do it in. I don't think avgas airplanes are as common in rural areas. So even though we really haven't used the only avgas helicopters we have is the 22 and the Capri, which we've only used like once or twice for these days. It feels like we're not moving. I hate this. So even though we've used those like in Japan or something like that, we're like, okay, there's obviously stuff like flying across Greenland. I don't think there are any piston-powered airplanes that are regularly flying through these areas. Does it happen? Yeah, obviously. There's people who have done this transit in piston planes plenty of times. But I don't think it's regular enough to where I can expect fuel at places I'm going unless I do a lot of pre-planning. But I would 100% do it. If I was given the opportunity to fly around the world in a 44, hands down. If I was given the opportunity to do it at a 22, and I had the help with the logistics as far as putting fuel stations and barges and places and stuff like that where I could do it, yeah, sure. The only downside with the 22 is just personal effects, supplies, hygiene, food. It's not a horrible thing. Some mechanical turbulence over the hill there. It's not a horrible thing. It's like, cool, I'm 190 pounds. The most I can carry in my passenger seat is 100 and... I can do a 200-pound person, but we're taking like 10 gallons of fuel. And it's only got not that much fuel in it. It's 26 gallons total. So 2 hours of safe fuel, then 30 minutes of like, oh shit fuel. So if you want to have full tanks, you're taking less than 100, for me, less than 150 pounds passenger seat. And then if I want to have somebody else in the helicopter with me, for paperwork, management of things and places or whatever, that becomes a huge problem. Because I would need a child. And then on top of that, there's not a lot of storage space. Everything would have to fit under my seat and their seat. My seat probably not much, or their seat probably not much. Mine would get very hot because it's where the heater comes through. Yes, I know you're tiny, Valeska. But when you get anything like oil, tools, like the little spare parts that you would need to carry with you, that's a big thing. Like, obviously, I'm not going to keep, like, spare rotor head, spare tail rotor gearbox, If something like that happens, then, yeah, we call it an evac. Sorry for the loss. But for the most part, like, you're limited, like, what you're wearing, which is going to get stinky after, like, day 2. I am not looking forward to the rest of this flight. Holy crap, that looks disgusting. Do you see that? kind of wish it was a cloudy day. Oh. Yeah, so like me and you, we would have room for it. Or we would have the weight allowance for some. But on that, if we go up to max gross weight or whatever, you know, that's me putting... If we want full fuel, we're limited to 30 pounds of oil, a couple of tools, personal effects, max. If we want to bring more than that, then we cut our fuel capacity down significantly. So it's a yeah, it's a possible thing, but also it's so impractical, it's not really worth it sort of thing. In a 44, more doable. You know, I could put 4 200-pound people in there, me included. And I think you can still do full fuel weight at that point. You're limited to top speed there until you burn down to 2,200 pounds, but weird winds. We have a 20-knot tailwind, though. I like that. Don't know what the dots are, but they're kind of nice to be down there. It breaks up the monotony and just expanse of nothingness. We're at 4,600 feet. I'm going to keep on climbing. We're 1,000 feet above the ground, and this is what it looks like. Buy new clothes along the route. Yeah, like, it's possible. Like I said, it's possible. It's just... It's so logistically impractical. The 44 would still be logistically challenging. It would still be... I mean, any of them. Any helicopter would be logistically challenging. It's logistically challenging doing it in the simulator here. I had no idea this main area was 4,000 feet elevation. Is it making those houses? There's no way there's a town here. It's making little... It's probably like rendering rocks as houses. I'm not going to zoom in on my map because I don't want to ruin my tablet not flipping out. But I'm curious if this is actually Greenland beauty. You thought Italy was nice coming through like all those mountains and valleys and cute little towns? No. Look at this. You want the salt and pepper landscape? This is it. We have a 25-knot tailwind right now. Not angry about it. It's weird that it's rendering those in his houses. I honestly think it's just boulders. Or dirty snow. And it's just rendering these as houses everywhere. Because if it was this busy, populated, there would obviously be an airport here. There's not. But I'm also not going to complain, because if it keeps this going, even though it's ugly, if you want to call it ugly, it is making this not as horrible as just a white sky against a white landscape. It's actually giving me... Like, I can visually fly this, and I don't have to be stuck in my instruments for the next hour and a half, 2 hours. Which is definitely preferred. Yeah, the secret Greenland. They say there's only 50,000 people here. I think there's 50 million people here. Look at all these. Yeah, fingers crossed it kind of stays like this across the entire country. That would be nice. Although when we kind of test flew out here, the other day just to see what it looked like. There was nothing. But I also think that was like more middle of the country. I feel like maybe we're just lucky right now because we're still near the coast. And you're getting a whole bunch of rocks and mountainous discrepancies. No Walmarts, but there are Dollar Generals. Basically lost our tailwind. Sad. It also looks like we lose the ground beneath us up here. Hard to tell. Very hard to tell. The sky blends in perfectly with the horizon. I have zero horizon up here. So I'll be mildly instrument flying here. Tailwind's back. There's 10 knots. I think they probably need an Amazon distribution center up here. And I've yet to see a single flock camera, so they probably need to get a few of those installed as well. What is this up here? Yep, we're losing our rock buildings. Turning into snow dunes. The wind is wild though. It is bouncing me. Okay. Hour and a half of this coming up. I was kind of hoping this building would stick around. Yeah, great place for a day. Honestly, it's cold up here. Why not ruin the sensitive ecosystem and put in those giant space heaters? Yep, we are now in snow dunes. This is a new landscape. Very Greenland. Haven't seen this anywhere else. Go figure. Also, I'm at 6,000 feet. It's still 4,000 foot ground beneath us. There's coast over there. Like an inlet, a fjord. A Greenland fjord. You have plenty of water too, you just melt it down. Your things make heat, it melts the snow. Honestly, it's probably carbon neutral to put a data center up here. What about the groundwater? It just freezes again, it ain't going nowhere. Okay, let's build some altitude over this area. Also, we're kind of getting pushed south of the line. I'd rather be north of the line a little bit. Mouse, get over here. See, that's horrible. That is horrible. Like, at least with clouds, you know, there's clouds to look at, there's variations in the cloud. Out here, it's just nothing. They were flying into the sun, too. Which, I mean, I guess I could have woken up at 8 o'clock this morning and done this flight. We would have had sun over us on the horizon to look more like that, which is at least visible. There's a little something up in front of us up there. Hello. Probably a polar bear. Also, sorry my replies get kind of limited now. If I look away for like a half second, I get disoriented. I can kind of see a horizon line up there. That's good. I look that way, it's gone. If I look this way, we can stay pretty horizontally locked in. Horizontally locked in. Miserable. .20 tail, solid. Gonna push us nice and good. Don't need 1,500 feet a minute. Who invented Greenland? What the hell? Did they just run out of creativity after they got past the shoreline? Welcome to basically instrument flying 100.5. Or basically instrument flying. So spatially, I feel like we're just floating. I feel like we're holding it like I'm balancing us on top of a stick. Which is... it is what we're doing. Like, I don't even know my computer's freezing on some of these things. It just feels... feels so wrong. It's like the New Zealand Islands, but better. That's what I was thinking. Like, Lord of the Rings should have been up here. There's just so much diversity up here. Why is it so gusty? We're getting kicked around here. Still a 20-knot tailwind. I'm not going to complain, but... there are gusts that are just coming out of nowhere. I almost feel like this flight plan may not be worth this flight plan. I was thinking, like, cool, we can go down the coast. We can do a fuel stop. And then go back up the west coast a little bit. Because I was like, you know what, at that point, more to look at. There's more coastline. There's more visual cues. This is bad. And I didn't set up a direct tool on the tablet, so I have no idea how far we are. Although I should be able to. I don't crash us. And if I can get over here to read it. Oh yeah, only 264 miles. Come on, mouse, get over here. Here we go, lock in, get back in the area. Cool. Dude, South Chile would be awesome. Anywhere kind of like along the Patagonia mountains-ish. And then getting down to the southern tip of South America, where it becomes less like crazy mountain and more just like aggressive hill mountain area. So, oh yeah. Did you ever watch the... It's really more of like a car guy-ish, outdoor guy-ish sort of YouTube thing. And I think it's on Amazon now too. But there's a channel that's called Expedition Overland. And they're big on the overlanding thing, you know, like, hey, build your Toyota 4Runner and go exploring and camping and stuff with it. But they take it super, super seriously. And they did a full Pan American series where they have done like from in the Arctic Circle, and they're not just like driving the roads, they're like finding crazy off-roading to do in the process. But they've gone all the way from northern point of the Pan American Highway, so like top of Alaska, Canada, all the way down to the bottom of South America. And their South American series was really, really good. Even if you're not a car guy, I strongly suggest the Expedition Overland South American series. It truly is a beautiful place. What is that? Probably a U.S. secret military base or something like that. Elevation is coming up around us. We're at 8,400 feet and the ground's 1,000 foot below us. I almost kind of want to try to lose the altitude and see what scud running feels like. Maybe that will be easier to not have to find the horizon. Even though we do have clouds ahead of us. Which I am extremely excited about the clouds, honestly. Okay, 500 feet AGL. Working our way down. Let's see if we can scud it, if that makes it any better. I want to be taller in my seat. At least here. Okay, I know I'm at decision height. Okay, I want to add a little bit of altitude back real quick. that's the landing gear alarm. That's what it was. But even here, okay, this isn't horrible. I don't know why the landing gear couldn't tell that I was at 130 knots and I'm putting my gear down. So we'll try to stay 200 feet. Just because I can see texture on the ground, which is huge. Because the sky ain't blue, at least in the sim. The horizon, when you get up 1,000 feet, it just, everything just blends into a white blanket of nothingness in front. Like flying in a white trash bag with somebody shining a laser pointer in both your eyes. You don't see texture in the stream? Get better in the window here. That's kind of what I'm looking at. It ain't much, but it's honest. I can also see clouds ahead, which is nice because that does give me a separation between horizon and sky. Yeah, we're at 8,400 feet here. We're only 200 feet, or yeah, 250 feet off the ground. Yeah, flying here is definitely an autopilot sort of thing. Which, believe it or not, I have started messing with some of the airplane models that have similar avionics to what I'm doing in real life. And that have autopilots that I can trick, because I can kind of balance my cyclic to where it plays nicely. I'm starting to do some flights with those just as a way for me to learn the Garmin systems, the approaches, different things like that. Does it make me want a fixed wing? No. I mean, I've always had a desire for a fixed wing just for, you know, longer personal trips. Not in helicopters reach easily. I am so excited for the clouds. I hope that because it doesn't come to bite me. We'll have to clip this. At least with the clouds I can get on top of them. And there's more texture. That's what I'm excited for. We burned half a tank of gas. When we get down to a quarter tank, I'm going to click my fuel button once, which will give us 25% of our tanks back in there, and we'll use that as a ferry tank. Okay, so we're kind of at the limits of what we would be at today. It's just the nature of doing cross-country crazy around the world flying And fairy tanks would exist in real life anyways, so. I see your messages, but I'm still in so much of I can't tell which way I'm going right now that I'll read them once I'm above these clouds up here. There's a wind shift. And if we cannot tell, I have just completely disregarded V&E today. Speed is more important than virtual safety. We call it the Greenland effect, if you will. Infinite Flight is adding contrails finally. Oh, nice. Come put some contrails in front of me so I have something to look at. And some like shadow stripes on the ground. If I could have some people chemtrail right above me right now, that would be sick. Do some chemtrail cloud seeding for your boy right now. Oof. I would look forward to it. Give me a little bit of discretion as far as what I can see and what I see. Like, that's not that bad. There I have a horizon I can look up. Up here it's still, it's not as bad because I can see the cloud line. I don't know if you guys can, but I can see the cloud line pretty good up here now. Let's see, they do have a big simulator at the school right now that they're renting for a little bit. I'll do a couple hours on it because that simulator counts as actual flight time. It's a certified simulator. So I'll be doing that a little bit because it's much cheaper than actually flying. And like I said, my main goal is commercial. If I can get an extra 10 to 15 hours and save $200 for those 10 to 15 hours, that's $2,500 I have, which is 4 to 5 hours of using the R44 in full. But if you're just considering cost over the R22, basically like each hour I fly in the simulator is like 0.5 hours, 0.7 hours in the R44 as far as cost more than the 22. 22 is like $410 an hour, the 44. 22 is $400 an hour. 44 is $600 an hour. It's a $200 difference. So if I'm flying the simulator at $160 savings per hour, I can just add those savings on top of time I would have flown the R22 and fly the 44 instead. Now I don't get PIC time with it, and I do not get cross-country time with it. But I do get simulated instrument, which is something that I need, and I do have time with it that will go towards commercial. So the plan is like, okay, cool, commercial, just need the 150 hours flat, whatever. Even if I get that and I don't have the, like, I'll have the PIC time for instrument regardless, but if I don't have the, like, flight school hireable amount of PIC time in a R22 or R44 to start teaching, I'll do safety pilot stuff, because safety pilot also counts as PIC time. And I feel, fingers crossed, that the school likes me enough to where they would let me do that. And I think I would be a great candidate to be a safety pilot. That way it frees up instructors to, you know, make money instead of riding along for free. Then also, Freddie knows me. Pretty sure he likes me. He's invited me to come do stuff with him. He's like, hey, you commercial yet? You gonna come do some video stuff with us? So, I feel like he already likes me. Freddie being the owner. So I feel like with that, like, cool, let me fly tours. Let me do some other stuff that's not teaching. Let me do some safety pilot stuff. That'll get me the PIC hours that I need for the SFAR and everything like that. Yeah, you think you see the clouds ahead now? I mean, they're clouds, so they're white versus the white ground, but the sky's starting to look bluer, which is good. It's not as horrid. Still bad, but not as bad. Yeah, this definitely makes, even though I still don't have like a good visual reference on how far above the ground I am, other than there's this top TV screen thing here. There's a 400 390 that's there. That's kind of a radar altimeter. So there I went down to 340. Use my mouse and see if I can point it out without clicking anything. This right here, that's a radar altimeter for me, so I know how high I am above. But it's a small number. It's not easily in my gauge sweep, you know. But as long as I'm keeping speed, whatever, it will give me an alarm if I'm getting too low as far as landing gear being necessary. So that's a good little helpful. And as long as I'm not going into crazy dives or crazy climbs or getting too far out of whack one way or the other, we're good. I'm going to do a couple hours in the sim on Monday. See how I like it. See what I can get out of it. And at the end of the day, for me, even if I'm not getting a whole bunch out of it, I could, since it's not going to count as cross-country time for me, I may do some simulated instrument stuff in it, but I could just be like, hey guys, set me up, let me run pattern work, put me in here all day, do an 8-hour day of just pattern work, a 10-hour day, do 2 10-hour days, give me 20 hours of just flying in the pattern. I am absolutely retarded enough to sit there for 8 hours a day. I'm doing this for free on the internet anyways, and I'm doing it in a much more immersive thing than their sim, because it's a big screen sort of thing. It's like, I'll gladly run pattern for 10 hours, and that's going to buff me like 10 hours of flight time towards commercial, because commercial's the goal. CFI, CFII, instrument will happen before commercial, I think. Just because I'm doing those hours anyways, and I'm actively working on instrument right now. I think that we'll be able to do that fine. But saving as much money as I can to where when my money runs out, I have commercial, or I'm damn close. Then I'm happy with that. Kind of surprised your 10,000 feet between trying to read without crashing. Kind of surprised. 10k feet between Making and can see Auburn, Atlanta, LaGrange, Columbus, and Megan. Oh, are you flying right now? Are you in a plane? Oh, in the game. Okay, I was like, you were just at home a few minutes ago talking about an E4 Bravo flying over. Is that a phone app or is that computer? I legitimately only do Microsoft Flight Sim and a little bit of DCS. So I can't remember if Infinite Flight had, if it was PC based or what. Oh, I've never been so happy to see clouds to fly into. And the crazy thing is, like, the ground here is 8,000 feet. So if these cloud bases are 8,000 feet, that means it's just fog. Which, not mad at, but that means I'm going above it and I don't get to scud run it. Which means I have to go through them to get down. Annoying, but doable. It's on the phone. That's crazy that you can see it from there on the phone. Good resolution. Yeah, we are at... Of course, I don't know what our pressure is here. That's a thing. I will need to check airport pressures once I get there. Or once I get closer. We're still like 180 nautical miles away. Still an hour away. That's a guess. Don't want to click anything yet until I'm like deeper in good visual flying. But I do need to check what pressures are at our airport that we are going to. Which, if somebody wants to look it up, Nunit? I don't know, west coast of there, west coast of Greenland, Nunit, something like that, Punit. But I assume we're relatively high pressure right now, clear skies. They're working on availability though. It'd be neat to see whether they were able to get it to like a computer or console base to where it's a strong contender for that. Because right now it's like, you want a computer or console simulator like Microsoft Flight Sim. Or if you're on computer, you have X-Plane available also, which I'm excited to see what they're coming out with next. I've always been a Microsoft Flight Sim guy. But from what I understand, XSim... Is it XSim? X-Plane. Apparently they have better flight dynamics for a lot of stuff. So I'm interested to see what they come out with. Because, like, if you're using a simulator for a few hours, like, I'm pretty sure, like, all the FAA simulators, unless people have money, they're all running, like, an X-Plane based system that's just been modified to be more accurate. I think they would be better flying. Of course, now it's not that big of a deal. Like, I fly in real life. I don't need to get exactly the right perfect thing. There's a purple stripe that we're about to fly over up here. This is exciting. Can you see that on the screen there? This is big news, guys. So I'd be interested to see that if they can get a comparable world created like here. For me, as somebody who enjoys doing this, if the world just looked like this all the time, I wouldn't be in here all the time. I don't even want to be here right now doing this flight, just because this is horribly boring visually. And X-Plane can be horribly boring near the ground. Now, if you're doing airliner stuff, not a huge deal because you're getting up to altitude anyways. And then you're doing more like flight management systems and dealing with autopilots, radio calls, navigation, whatever. For me, helicopter Matt, we're definitely not in a type of field where flying high is preferable. I enjoy flying low. Yeah, the beeping's from the sim here. When I get below 200 feet AGL, it's got a radar altimeter. It's the like master alarm saying landing gear, landing gear, landing gear. Which even though I have my decision height turned down to 0, it's still the landing gear alarm exists. So here, 310 feet. 300, 290, 280, 270, 250, 240, 230, 200. Let's get back above 200. Goes away. Yeah, PC availability would be cool because that will open up the door to controls, to all the peripherals where you can start throwing in yokes and joysticks and levers and knobs and buttons and everything to like really start integrating it in. Because there are people that do that with Microsoft and with X-Plane, where they can build out basically a full cockpit. Also, there's no really purple stripe in the ground, kind of depressing. I know at one point you would attempted a DCS download on the PC. Was it just too many different things that you also have to add with it for it to be worth working, or? Also, I think you said there's a good strong chance of you getting a 1X, Xbox Series X, whatever. I forget what they're called. Whatever higher end Xbox. Also, with that said, on other things. Oop, let's look at the phone. Yeah, true. Of which 2024 Microsoft Flight Sim's not. A shadow on the ground, look at it. Look how low it is. Look how low the shadow is up here. We might be in the decision height alarm for a second here, but I want to fly under this cloud. We're at 300 feet right now. I'll try to level off above the decision height. What more? But you see these, you think they're low clouds, but this is 10,000. We're at 9,700 feet. That's funny. Yeah, which Microsoft Flight Sim 2020 definitely was pretty PC heavy. Or system heavy. It's not as horrible with 2024. as it's cloud-based. There's still a lot of rendering and stuff that you have to do, but it's not as bad. Delta 717 departure CSG. Extremely delayed, scheduled. SMS to whatever, now it's at 13:45. Where are they going? Were they, was it a weather delay or something else, you think? Oh my god, look at the ground with a shadow on it. Holy crap, this is nice. Guys, I'm a whole new man now. I feel rejuvenated. Look at this. Oh. Oh my god, that's great. I love that. Crazy that I can still see coast on the tablet there, far to the east out there. Like I said, we are kind of following the coast down, so it's understandable. But this cloud cover's nice. I'm adorable. Ugh. That's like a compliment that I appreciate, but it's also like adorable, really? I want to be intimidating and badass. I don't want to be adorable. Oh, this cloud cover's great. So even though it felt otherworldly back there, now it feels more otherworldly because at least there's like texture. I feel like we're on Venus, just it's not yellow. Ooh. Ryan Walker, what's going on? Good to see you, dude. Where are we at this week? Well, I've been busy flying for real, so we're right in Greenland, where I think you caught up with me last time, where you were waiting on the ground as I was showing up. So now we're halfway between there and the southwestern coast of Greenland. You don't necessarily mean cute or whatever. You adore me being badass. So we're somewhere in between where we were and where we're going. This is more boring than just a standard flying over the water day because the snow has been horrible at the beginning, but now that we have cloud cover, there's actually a level of shadow and detail coming out in the ground, which is relaxing and rejuvenating to an extent. Little sun poking out up there. Stay up there. Don't come below my clouds. See, 16 knot, kind of quartering headwind, 153 knots, 169 ground speed. Because we're so high, our airspeed and true airspeed, calculated airspeed, corrected airspeed, they're different. That is a plus side. The higher altitude you go, even if your gauge only says 150, you may be doing like 170. So, and we're definitely been flying in beginning this whole time. This helicopter just has so much power. It just has so much power. I can't help it. And we're in the old Donnie T livery. Look at it. busy week, and now you're off until Thursday. So a good bit of send time, hopefully. Oh, yeah. I have flown in real life every day this week, instrument training, commercial training. And I have some real work this coming up week. And we got some more training, helicopter training this coming up week. The church tomorrow. But right now, nothing was going on. It was the right time of day since we fly live time in the Around the World series. And the Greenland jump and this next water crossing are things that I'm not looking forward to. Everything past that I'm pretty much looking forward to, which that will help the motivation as well. Like, the motivation to do this fly right here has been pretty low. I have time. It's quiet. Weather's decent. I'm not flying in real life. Let's do it. So here we are, fighting the lack of motivation to do this particular flight by doing this particular flight. This is definitely one where I wish I had a self-centering setup so I could easily use autopilot, because apparently they put in a lot of work on this to make the autopilot be like a very strong, like nav following, VOR following, like full functional autopilot capabilities. And I just can't take advantage of that with my system or with my peripherals, be it. Clouds kind of suck right here. Now we're just flying through pace, but there's a good horizon line, so not horrible. Yeah, exactly. It's in this whole Atlantic crossing. I kind of wanted to do this last. You know, it's when we started leaving from Georgia at my home airport, there was the big decision: do I go west or do I go east? I knew that we'd be flying into the sun a good bit near the at whatever point, and again now, but we're flying in the middle of the day. Knew winds and weather would be a thing in some areas, and I was trying to take all that into consideration. But the biggest thing for me was thinking, okay, cool. My usual flying window for when I want to be on the sim is much later than it is right now. Right now it's 2:45 in the afternoon for me. Usually I want to fly like 8 o'clock at night. 6 o'clock at night if I have to. And let's say I was doing the 6 or 7 o'clock at night thing, so it would still be light outside when I started, but it would be going towards sunset. If I were to fly east, that means within 6 episodes, maybe 7 episodes, I would be in this exact spot that we're at right now, but going the opposite way. And 7 episodes in, having to do the Northern Canada transit, which is relatively boring, not a lot up there. Then the Atlantic crossing from Canada to Greenland, not exciting. The Greenland crossing, not exciting. Greenland to Iceland, not exciting. Iceland, okay. Iceland to Faroe, not exciting. Faroe to the UK, not exciting. And that would also be flying at the correct time for me to be doing it stream-wise, or the time that I was going to be on the stream or flying anyways, would make it nighttime, 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 nighttime. So that was kind of a recipe into me not having the desire to do the series if I were to be going east around the world. Now going west, the first 15 episodes was Georgia to like Alaska and up through there. Beautiful flying, even though it was rural in some areas, like really the worst part of the whole North America bit was from Denali out to the coast of Alaska. Even then, it wasn't horrible. After that, Russia kind of sucked, just because there's not a lot eastern Russia. And then it was down to Japan and fun, and a relatively short water crossing, considering the Bering Strait. So it wasn't horrible. And then also, as I was flying that way, it kept working out to where it's like, cool, even if I'm flying at 8 o'clock here at night, you know, over in Japan, it's something in like mid-morning. So like it was daylight, until we got to like the Middle East. And then that's really when it started messing with, okay, cool, it's too early, so I have to like take off in morning that I'm flying, and it's kind of like a weird crossover time to where like no matter what I did, it was me going to be flying in the middle of night to, or like a really weird hour of the morning, like 2 or 3 a.m. to be an appropriate time over there. So I picked like flying over Saudi Arabia, we did at night, just because like, okay, cool, there's not much to see there. Still landscape, so it's not horrible like this is, but we did that at night. And then I was able to kind of like readjust, like, okay, cool, I'll fly early. Instead of flying at 8 o'clock at night, I'll wake up and we'll fly at 10 o'clock in the morning on my off days or whatever. So that's worked out. Oh, I can see coast ahead. Not on my looking ahead, but if you look at my tablet down there, I can see coast bottom left. Down to about a third of a tank of fuel. I'm going to keep pushing. If we can make it in and land without having to do the ferry tank thing, that'd be sick. We should be able to. But I'm also flying at a very wasteful speed. We're flying above V&E, which aerodynamically should not really be a thing. But I don't want to spend any more time out here than I need to, obviously. And then I think general plan will be possibly Wednesday. I want to do I'm working Tuesday, 25th. Flying simulator at the school Monday, so I don't want to sim myself out from 2 different systems and just not be into it. So I'm thinking Wednesday. We may try to do the crossing. As of right now, Tuesday's the only day that I know that I'm working, but I'll talk to them and figure that out. If not, Saturday will probably be my next time. And we'll do it same-ish time as this. I may even start earlier and try to do like a 10 or 11 o'clock. Wake up, get ready, make the thumbnail, be streaming by 11. And we'll have a big crossing back into America. Or North America. Not America proper. At least crossing the Atlantic back to home continent. Which sadly will not be our final continent, but it's still home continent nonetheless. And I say that because since we went down and doodled around Australia a little bit for one of our stream viewers, I figure might as well hit South America too. I don't think it's going to add a crazy amount of time to it, especially if I'm doing like 4-hour sessions. It may be like a week and a half we add on to it. But I want to go down the east coast of America, and I want to completely skip Georgia without touching it. So we'll probably do like Hilton Head, South Carolina, then jump down to Florida. Is that lightning? I don't know. I want to skip Georgia completely, because I don't want to be like, ooh, I went from Georgia to Georgia. I want to completely pass, no steps, no nothing. Then we'll go down Florida, the Keys, hit the islands and Bahamas. There'll be a lot of water crossing stuff, but there's cool islands in between. Beautiful weather. It won't be horrible. And then we'll hit South America, just like around like northern Venezuela, just enough to say we touched the continent, then shoot back up through Central America, Panama, Yucatan, jump up through Texas, swing around. CSG will be on last day, so we'll finally have your home airport, Mr. Southeast Aviation. We will finally have your home airport on the last day of stream. And we'll make sure to fly around that and pay more than enough attention to it because you've been here basically every episode. And if you can think of any places between, like on last day, I'm trying to think what our path would be. I'm feeling like it might be like Mobile, Alabama. Enterprise, Dothan, CSG. Or you follow us, CSG. And then we'll speed shoot it back up. Yeah, we're going to finish this year, that's for sure. I do not want this to be into 2027 whatsoever. I'm even mad that we took this long to do it. My silly brain, when we started, I said, cool, I should be able to do this during my summer break. But, what was that? I saw like a orb. I thought I could do it during the 3 to 4 month summer break, because if you look at flying times around the world, and a helicopter is like 200 and... It's not even that. I forget what the record is, or like what the standard is, but it's not a horribly long time. In fact, I'm going to look it up right now. How many hours of flying did it take for the helicopter to fly around the world? For the helicopter to fly around the world. $260 hours. So, by that logic, if I were to do 4 hours a day and fly every day, that's 60 days. Or 70 days. We're on episode 77. So we could be done by now if I had done longer episodes. If I had streamed every day, we could be done right now. But of course, I don't want to do... We could have been done well before that also. If we did like 8-hour shift days. You know, for... Or let's just say we did 50 hours a week. You know, that's 5.5 weeks. Not horrible, that's a month and a half. But I don't want to sit here with like a blue light generator shoved in my face all day. I don't want to sit in an office chair before, the gaming chair now. Thanks, Valeska. Channel sponsor, Valeska. I didn't want to do that for 8 to 10 hours a day. I wanted to do it in palatable things. Are there points when I'm running out of stuff to talk about? Sure. Sure, it happens. I'm not perfect. And I definitely don't have 260 hours of talking points just ready to go. With bathroom breaks and food, being in shape, having a life outside of playing a video game, there was more to it that I could have done. Or there's more that I needed to do outside of it. Now, on the other hand, if Multi-Shot Map was a 100,000 subscriber page, and on my standard live stream, I had 200 people watching, and let's just say I made $1,000 a week streaming, then yeah, that pays the bills. I mean, even $500 a week, which isn't like career money, but that's enough. Like, cool, during a summer vacation, summer break of a show's not working, That's enough to convince me to put time into this as a job. But right now, this is like my way of keeping busy. Labor of love-ish. From me to me. And since you guys are here, you know, it's much nicer having people ride along with me. I looked down Orion's message and just about did a backflip. Have to head on here, just stop the services at services to get coffee. Flight lands in Pence. Okay, well, I would say tell your friend I said hey, but I don't know who your friend is. But yeah, thanks for dropping by, dude. Always a pleasure to have you in chat. And even flying along sometimes. Can't tell if that's different landscape up ahead of us. Hard to tell. It's definitely different. Yeah, we could have been done a long time ago. We could have been done. Like I said, in my foolish brain, I had looked up that 250, 260 hour thing. It's like, oh, sick, if I do 5 hours a day for like 2.5 months, we're good. 3 months max, because that was the time that I had off, and I was trying to fill the time that I had off. Is that Pee Wee Man? Where are you? There you are, dude. Tell my friend that I said hello. Hey. Hey, Matt. I am your friend. So I'm telling myself hello. Yeah, the whole chat says hello to your friend, actually. You don't have a choice. You have to let them know now. Also, Cam, sorry I've been buzzing your house recently. We're doing instrument training and the approach path is over your house, obviously. So anytime I'm doing like an RNAV approach into runway 24, I'm kind of near your house and kind of buzzing. So, sorry not sorry. If I had a horn, I would toot it as I flew by and give a little beep beep. Glad you got that. I was trying to think, I was like, do you know anybody else in here? No. Everybody else is spread far and wide. Well, I guess Southeast Aviation is, and he's relatively close. But you don't know anybody else IRL. Yeah, if you can't tell, we're in a very boring flight today. We're at Greenland, but we are getting near the coast. So, that's huge. I'm very excited to be over this. So the name of the airport that we're going to is something. What I want to do, without crashing, being the important part. Direct to. So we have a mileage. More info. Weather. 2956. That's what I wanted. So now we're much lower than what I thought we were, but we're still really high. We're 500 feet off the ground and we're at 8,900 feet. So this is still an 8,400 foot plateau of ice and bullcrap that we're flying over. Drop a toy soldier with a parachute. I kind of want to do that. I should be able to put... I don't even think it has to be experimental. I know you're not a car guy, but there's a Cletus McFarland episode on YouTube. This was maybe 4 months ago, 3 months ago, Now you can tell in the thumbnail, it's like this $4 million helicopter is crazy, or $3 million helicopter. And the guy from Todd Ertsky, I think is his name, from Ertsky Aviation. He's an Airbus dealer, salesperson, whatever, but also does a lot of other stuff. He brought by a newer Airbus H125 AS350 B3E top line 1,000 horsepower ripper of a helicopter. Brought it by, and he has a siren with like loudspeaker and stuff on it. He's like, that's one thing I put on all my helicopters just because it's a cool thing to have. And especially if you're doing like off airport landings and stuff too, and there are people on the ground that like aren't paying attention and like they don't have ground radar, you like, hey, move. I'm gonna circle around. You move. That tarp that you have laying on the ground, sit on it. Yep, so we have weather there now. I think it's still marginal VFR, but either way, not horrible. We will have to drop 8,000 feet from the sky. Not sure when we start that, but we are 89 miles. We're traveling 140 knots over the ground. We should be able to do it on this tank of gas, hopefully. We'll see. Like I said, I am giving myself one ferry tank click for this one. Trent Palmer has a horn. Oh yeah, I saw that. Dude, I'm glad that their house was safe during that fire. That was wild. That was a cool, scary, cool video to watch. However you want to describe it. Nice to see that everybody, at least in his property, got out. They did all the right steps, building it correctly to code to keep them safe. If you're not attaching to the airframe, it doesn't need experimental. And there's also like approved STCs for it as well. So like obviously on a let's say a Carbon Cub or a whatever sort of bush plane. Let's even say it's a certified one or experimental, whatever. No, certified one. Nobody's making a part that went through the certified process to put a horn and a loudspeaker on a Carbon Cub. Nobody's gone through the process to put a loudspeaker, like an external loudspeaker, on a Boeing 747, probably. But what is used pretty consistently for police work? The Airbus H125 AS350 platform. What's something that police helicopters tend to have? Loudspeakers. Come out and put your hands up as they're circling over. So there is an approved STC for a certified part to go into and be wired, integrated into the systems of the Airbus Eurocopter AS350 airframe. What did Cam say? I'm so far removed from Formula Drift right now that I didn't even know there was a thing today. So yeah, with that said, I think there should be, that there would be a legal STC for me to put a loudspeaker on a Robinson R44 or 66. Because there are police departments that use them. There are different places that use it for cattle ranching, stuff like that, that it does not feel like an uncommon thing. I feel like most helicopters probably have some sort of STC for that. dark clouds like that. £520 of fuel left. Cool. Oh man, dark cloud's not really giving me a lot of definition on the ground down there. Well, there's some. There just might not be a lot of definition on the ground to be had. 7,500 feet, so we are slowly sloping back down, which is nice to know. Greenland is just one giant mound of snow and ice. Apparently there's also like a secret under snow base that we had built at one point. Pretty interesting video when I was watching about it. And I don't even want to say that I have a problem with Formula Drift. I enjoy it. It's a much more friendly form of racing to an extent. You know, obviously there's rivalries and stuff like that. But like in drag racing, it's like you are competing to be best of the best of the best of the best, fastest, whatever. Big bragging rights. And Formula Drift, like, to an extent, it's all about the crowd. Like, when it rained out in wherever the other week, like, they all started doing donuts and burnouts and stuff. It's like, dude, you guys paid to come out here. Like, here, we're gonna put on a little show for you, even though, like, we can't compete. Or, like, at the end when they call out for the finals, all of them come out and they do the 3-person donuts. Like, it's very for the fans, which is great. It's an entirely different atmosphere than a lot of other stuff. At the same time, there obviously is money in it, just like as any motorsport. Not a lot, but there is money in it. And there are people who, not really cheat, but like the whole Forsberg thing, how he changes his driving styles from when he's leading to what his qualifying laps are and like where his slowdown points are. Like, there are people that definitely take it very competitively, which is good. You know, it is a sport. Sports are competitive. But it's a much more friendly environment as well. You don't see often drifters getting in fist fights because somebody did this or somebody did that. It's like, hey, cool, we're out here to have fun. So with that, I want to go out and have fun. I don't have build a drift car money. I've got decent skill, but I don't have build a drift car money. So for me, it's like I would much rather build a grassroots car and go out to drift days and little events and stuff myself rather than watching professionals. And that's kind of the same thing with sports too. Like, I don't care about sports. Could care less. Baseball, football, soccer, whatever. Don't care. Because at the end of the day, I'm cheering on people who are paid millions of dollars to do something that I can't do, and that I'm allowing myself to get emotionally invested and upset when something happens that's out of my control. Versus me building a car, I can take my car out and compete autocrossing for like $40 a weekend, plus a little bit of tire wear. Like, if you consider like food, drinks, tire wear, whatever, you can get pretty quality seat time in something like an autocross car basically every weekend for $100 a weekend. Maybe $150 if you consider like gas getting down there and back, and if you're trailering it, maybe a little bit more because you're paying for truck gas instead of like fuel efficient car gas. I'd much rather do that. I am much more team grassroots do it yourself rather than professional at any level. But professionals also show you what you can do, what's possible. They push the limits, but also there's the budget as well. So it's hit and miss. I enjoy Formula Drift. It's fun to go to. It's a lot more chill than like a football game, baseball game, whatever. God forbid I ever go to one of those. But I'd much rather do it myself. And it's like me for the cost to go up to Formula Drift. You know, $40 in gas. Food and stuff. I'm spending $100 in food. Sorry, you know, like breakfast on the road up there. And that's just going one day. This is a one-day trip. Breakfast going up there, like a lunch meal, a dinner meal up there, paying track food prices, track drink prices, bringing my own drinks in with a cooler or whatever. The ticket itself, you know, you're spending $400 minimum going to Formula Drift, if not more. For $400, I can rent a helicopter for an hour, and I'm going to enjoy it a lot more. But that's also a personal thing, too. Not everybody's going to enjoy renting a helicopter for 1 hour versus a day trip to a race car thing. So it's all personal preference. Silly me, looking at my phone, texting and driving. It's also cool because the clouds seem to be following the curvature of Greenland back down. Getting low there. Hey Dino, he's a good boy. Big yawn, buddy. That's good. Okay, a little less than a quarter tank of fuel now. Not happy, but we're going to keep cruising. We have 57 miles. We're cruising 160 knots over the ground, so we're 20 minutes from location. We should make it. Not a good fuel reserve, but it is a doable one. And we are kind of downhill coasting now. Yeah, you also do tent, Airbnb, Starlink, generator, grill, the TV and the sim, computer. Yeah, you guys spend a lot on it, but that's your thing too, you know? Like the people who spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars going to like all these football games and tailgating and stuff, like, that's their thing. Like, who am I to judge? Like, oh, cool, going to a football game, the tailgating party is stupid. Cool, if they like it, that's their life. I enjoy Formula Drift. I enjoy other things more. Like, if I can get up there for a day, if I have the time and I'm working, the schedule's right, then I go up there for the day. I spend the minimum. And that's me, you know, it's... Now, like, I could see if I watched every single round, I would definitely be more into it. But I don't even watch every round. Like I said, I didn't even know there was a round this weekend. I don't even know how many rounds in we are. Yeah, it's a weird place, and it's also like, oh, I see stuff on the ground up here. We're getting close to the shore where there's rocks and stuff again. We see the color of the snow, and the map's kind of gone pink there, so we're getting more things. So, What am I trying to say? Also, in competitive racing, let's say Formula One, the rules are strict. We all know it. We all see it. Everybody complains. Everybody knows that's what it is. Formula Drift, obviously the rules are much more relaxed. You can show up with 400 horsepower if you want to. If you qualify, good for you. But basically there's like, you have your safety rules. You have a tire rule. And then some things on like body construction. Because there was like the one dude who put a bash bar that was slightly external on his rear bumper, and he had like high impact scooter wheels on it, so that way if he were to hit a bumper on a wall, it would roll across the wall easier instead of dragging and catching, and they outlawed that. And like suspension mounting points and things like that. So like there are some rules that are kind of strict on things, but also it's a very loose and relaxed sport. There's people's out there with like a Castro a couple of years ago with a turbo 4-cylinder. It's making 800 horsepower, 1,000 horsepower, but then there's also like a twin turbo Dodge Viper making 1,700 horsepower. So it's a very varied. It's a very varied field. Ooh, I can see hills up here. That's nice. You're not... The amount of late night R22 flights. Yeah, none of those have been me. I do need to do that soon because night flights are good for instrument training. But it's just nicer air. The air's kind of crap out right now with all the rain and convectiveness or whatever. So we've started, for me, flying earlier or later in the afternoon. Like 5 or 6 or 7 o'clock. Anyways, what was I talking? Oh yeah, so like it's a very varied field. There's a lot of different people, a lot of different vehicles, power plants, setups, whatever. And like their big limiting factor on Formula Drift, which drifting, for those of you who don't know, sliding a car around, the big limiting factor for the rule set is how much your car weighs dictates how much tire you can put on your car. I'm not saying like, ooh, he can put 6 tires. It's like, okay, cool, a tire of different widths have different tractions because there's more rubber on the ground. If you have a heavy car, you can put a bigger tire on there. So you can, if you put a super skinny tire, then you're not getting a lot of traction, and it evens the field pretty good. For what the rule is, it works out pretty decently. But also I feel like there's so much cool stuff Formula Drift could do that they don't. Like Japan, I get it's a very Japanese motorsport from the get-go. But with Japan, most Japanese performance cars, it's kind of what we're seeing in Formula Drift. Now there's like the American muscles. You have Mustangs and Corvettes and whatever out there now. But like, why not pickup trucks? Why is there a pickup truck rule? I'm sure size is a thing. They don't want to do with a pickup truck screwing up his line and having a 4,000 pound vehicle toast somebody's like 1,800 pound thing that they spent $100,000 building. I get that. But I think with this being America, I'm not just trying to be funny, like, this is American Formula Drift. If you wanted to do like the Formula Drift Japan series or whatever, then go race the Japan series. But like, dude, let me see some big body cars out there. Like JJ's Firebird. Thank God the Viper is gone. But also, like, hell yeah, let me see a Viper out there. Of course, it was a bit much. But You know, rule sets allow variations, and that was a big variation. It's a weird line, but I'd like to see some more stuff. As long as it's like quality builds, follows safety rules as far as crash cages and whatever, weight to tire, meet, whatever. Cool, let them run. Like, that would be sick. It'd be so cool. I would love to see that. That would be something on my wish list, to see Formula Drift expand to like truly embrace American automotive culture in that way. Obviously, no lifted trucks, none of that. It has to be lower center of gravity, like built to be competitive drifting, obviously. But I can tell you there are a lot of rednecks in pickup trucks, or just people anywhere in pickup trucks, who can drift way better than any other like car person in their school or town. Just because truck, V8, rear-wheel drive, cruising dirt roads at 70 miles an hour sideways, it's just the culture. And why not embrace that culture? I think it'd be sick. Or older cars. You know, like, sure, it's nice having like one general class in FD. And of course, there's Pro 2 and Pro Am previously. I don't know what it's called now. Different levels, different classes. But on the Pro level, and also, like, there's not a lot of seat time or like spectator time. Like, you look, each run's like 30 seconds. You're not getting like minutes and minutes and minutes and minutes and minutes and hours of time like watching an endurance race or something. Why not have a second parallel class running where you have like Pro New, which is like Pro cars 2010 or newer, and Pro Old of older, and run top 16th of both, and then run those down and start running them against each other. It's just like they engineer the downtime into it, all the judging, the little interviews, the, oh, okay, Lontaine, what do you think about this? No. Like, there's so much. It's that they could do a lot better in a lot of different ways. But then, again, not making fun of the Viper, but like, there's the people that can find their ways around rules that really, really make it difficult for some other people when you have something that specced out. And also, not talking crap on him, but if you were to put that car in the hand of somebody who's more talented, like, what could you do against it? Okay, we're down below a quarter tank. I'm going to click the fuel button once, give us a quarter tank of fuel on top of that. We are now back to like a third of a tank of fuel. That'd be the equivalent of us using a ferry tank. Just as the headroom. And also, it would have done better on fuel if I flew slower, but that was not on my list of things to do. Also, we're down to 3,300 feet now, so we've just been gradually coming down this entire flight from 10,000. Yeah, and Japan loves the culture too, so they would love to see it. But what do I know? I'm just a guy who watches FD casually. And casually is even a strong word for that. I'll throw a bit more altitude out to get over these little hills and stuff here. So zoom in some here. 22 miles, and at this speed, I mean, it's a matter of 7 or 8 minutes. We do have clouds below us as well that we'll need to mind. So now, if the flight was this the entire time, it wouldn't have been horrible, but man, just the flat, white vastness of just ice pack, millions of years of ice pack, ridiculous. Trees! What a unique idea. Ooh, flying in the clouds. Mild IMC. Yeah, some non-flat terrain, exactly. We are going to be getting some landing gear buzzers here. I apologize, I've been trying to avoid that most of the flight, within reason. But we will be doing some mild scud running here, just to keep below the weather and inside of ground. Cool little rift going out through there. Gonna follow this valley, course it to the right, kind of with that cloud. Greenery? What? Greenland, look at you living up to your name finally. And there's the water. Hello. Beautiful. Like, this is pretty right here. And I kind of expect our northeastern Canada to look like this, maybe like half height the hills, but like this as we go down through the eastern coast. But the big question is, for the day that we get back into America, what helicopter do we fly as we cross the border? Also, what do we fly on the last day? It's all stuff we gotta plan now. Like, I kind of want to finish out the R-22 because that was the first helicopter I flew in real life. And I'm okay doing an hour, 2-hour flight, where maybe we'll start in like Destin, Panama City, somewhere that's like directly south of Columbus, but Florida coast, and then tune up through there. I don't know. We'll think about it. But I'm not against the idea of doing a 22. 214. There's no 214. We have a Huey. 214 would be sick, though. I wish. What is this? That's crazy. Okay. I think that may have just been like a visual mess up by Google Satellite View. Yeah, I think Canada maybe like third height of these mountains on the northeastern bit. Either way, it'll be ground and water, so it won't be horrible. Huey, yeah, Huey's got some good chop. We can do a Huey flight. Actual green. Haven't seen this color in hours. Yeah, pretty little area. That's like literally it, sadly. Like that's all. That's Greenland, guys. I think this is a little town right here. Maybe? Or is that just snowpack that made it look like buildings? Oh, just snowpack. Sad. Beep, beep, beep. I know, we're low. Slowing down significantly as well. We gotta go over this. There's gonna be more over there. I know, beep, 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 beep. I guess we could have gone around. Yeah. Oh, my controller's not awake. Oh no. We could have gone around. Just weird rendering on that. It shows that there's a lot more there. Okay, let's work our slowdown here. Lowering the collective, speeds dropping drastically. Trying to keep whatever altitude we're at here though. Used to cruising 150, so tuning her down to 100 feels like I'm crawling right now. Where's my mouse? Boop. Gear going down. 1, 2, 3 in the green. Parking brake is off. one big water crossing from here, and we are back on North American soil. There we go, on the ground. Thankfully, we do not have to do that flight again now that we have landed safely. Indoor? Where is indoor? I'm going to need more information than that. Sorry, I'm good at geography, but I'm not that good. Yeah, almost back to home continent. Also, MSFS2024. Whoa. Welcome to the stream. We'll park off the side a little bit to give people some room to get around us if they would like. Nope, nope. Throttle's down. RPMs are dropping. Parking brake is on. Landing lights are off. Anti-collision lights off. Pitot heats. Engine anti-ice can go off. AC can go off. Master start off. Fuel's off. There's my mouse. Generators off. Those off, those off, those off. Blades to a stop. And power off. Shift C out. Guys, welcome to the west coast of Greenland. As far as the flying portion of today goes, I think we're basically done. We are at... Also, don't forget to click the like button, guys. Goodness. That's part 77 of Flying Around the World in a Helicopter. I'm going to end here. We'll do some pre-flight planning for next time. So now we've made it to there. Let's make time and weather clear so we can see the airports better. Also, you said indoor. Where is indoor? I don't know what that is. India? It's 20 episodes ago, but I'm sorry. I'm not turning back now. Pamut. Okay. So let's just start this as... Says departure. Obviously, we cannot use the S-76 again. I was thinking Dolphin. I said there is a configuration of Dolphin where they have big fuel tanks. Maybe this one. There's one of them that has a lot better fuel range than other ones. But either way, it still looks very short considering where we need to go. We could work this way, but then we have a huge jump to make it down here anyways. So I'm saying we come down here to Hopedale. Now if I put something on here that has better range off the rip, let's just say Chinook, because it's fast, it has the range, fuel and payload, also capability to hold a very big ferry tank. We're much closer there. Full tank plus 25% ferry, even 50% ferry. Plenty of room. Let's look at... We already did the 160 recently. But I'm also not opposed to doing the 160 again. Just because of... I could click in on the autopilot on this. Though I don't like doing it for a 3-hour over-water flight. I feel like it's more acceptable. That gives us that range. Also, there are a few little airports up here that aren't mentioned in the game. I think there's one. Yeah. So there's one here. Probably whatever this is. That's an airstrip, but it's not showing as a registering as an airstrip on the game. Yeah, we haven't seen the Chinook in a while, and I'm not against it. Would it require me to fly the whole time? Yeah, sure, but that's whatever. This would be nice, but it's full of issues at the moment. Let's see, fuel and payload. But also, a recent update came out. I don't know if they fixed it since the update. They have fixed it since the update. We could do it. Yeah, it's got plenty of range. Let's do that. Let's see how this one works. Let's see if it works yet. Go to home airport. Says departure, normal time of day. Let's see if the 225 works. Oh, dang it. Do I have to jump for this one? I think I have to jump for this one. Show the dog. Dino, come here. Dino, come here. Dino. You just walked by, Dino. Come here. Dino. Dino, come here. Right here. I know you're on the couch. Come here. Right here. Come on, get up here. Get up here. Say hello. Hello, Mr. Stew Man. Okay. Almost the big day for you, Mr. Stew Man. Well, are my controllers not going to work for me? Please. I don't know what it is recently, but these meta controllers are like being absolute ass. Like they turn off, they won't wake up whenever I pick them back up. Like they're just being subservient. There we go. Come on. No, don't tell me they've turned off. Controller's not... I am pressing buttons to wake my controllers. You just had my controller. Left one? What the hell? He eats AA so fast. He's not going to use a mouse to do this, which doesn't reach. Can I click down here and do it? Ugh. And the thing is, like, I have power. That's not the thing. I put fresh batteries in here the other day. Hold down A and B, or Meta and B. Why are you not working? I'm absolutely baffled. I'm going to restart my headset real quick. Hopefully it'll be back, but you're going to lose my microphone for a second, guys. Yeah, I'm putting it on the Go 3 so you can actually hear me talk. So also another thing it's doing, when I'm trying to use it as a pointer, it's clicking like a million times a second when I'm in a non-game. Which is wild. Like, I can't do anything about it. I don't know. And it's not picking up my Wi-Fi thing either. So, anyways, whatever. We'll call it a day. It was a good episode. And, yeah, we did things. Let's look at these last few comments. He said, well, Stu, I just invested in every size rechargeable battery. So worth never buying them again for the foreseeable future. Yeah, don't try to hop in, because right now my headset's not working. I'm not going to fly in 2D, respectfully. I'll text you if I do get it working and I want to hop in. But I'm fighting absolute retard levels of meta conceptualization. But yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good day. Next episode that we do around the world, we're going back to North America, finally. So until then, be good, I guess, but don't